Time now for The Real Estate Connection with Stephen Theard, a realtor and certified probate and real estate specialist. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned investor looking to downsize, move up, or refinance, this program is for you.
Our house in the middle of our street.
From probate sales to landscape design to home repairs and maintenance, this is your weekly look into all things real estate. Now your host for The Real Estate Connection, Stephen Theard.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Real Estate Connection, the podcast brought to you by Good Patriot Realty, a salute to home ownership. So again, a round of applause. Thank you for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. We are back in the saddle again. Took a little break from the podcasting just to catch my breath a little bit towards the end of the year, and now have some energy back, and we're ready to rock and roll all over again. But with that being said, we're going to jump right into today's podcast. Hey, if you are new to the program and you don't want to miss another episode, send me an email at info@realestateconnectionradio.com. That's info@realestateconnectionradio.com with your name and your email address, and I'd be happy to add you to my podcast distribution list. And if you're watching me right now on YouTube, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, smash that thing and subscribe. Really helps the numbers to get out there so people can get more information about the world of real estate. And again, I want to thank my sponsor, Good Patriot Realty, a brokerage serving those in need for residential real estate services here in California, Northern California. And we like to say that we are a salute to home ownership. We stand on private property rights and the right to build generational wealth within the United States of America and right here in California. So today's topic of today's show is the real estate market itself and buyers. The title of the podcast is 3 Reasons Why You Should Not Delay in Buying a House, and how the economic factors out there would cost you money in the long run if you should delay in purchasing a home into 2022 or even into 2023. So if you know of anybody out there who's been sitting on the fence and kind of thinking, hey, the market's going to get flat, I'm going to wait for prices to not be going up so much, this is the show that they would want to see, because I'm going to roll through some serious economic factors out there that will drive your decision to not wait, because waiting will actually cost you some money. That's right, it will cost you some money. All right, so we're going to jump right on into it. So what's reason number 1 for not waiting to hit the real estate market and buy, especially if you're a first-time buyer and you've been on the fence? Number 1 is that prices are rising. According to the most recent data from Zillow, and by the way, this information is coming from an article from Inman. Now, Inman's real estate is a real estate publication that is out there for people that are within the industry. And this article was actually written for real estate professionals to have conversations with buyers to let them know what's on the horizon as far as the excuse of I want to wait for X, Y, or Z. And so I thought this information would be valuable for you to see. Now, I'm looking for who wrote the article so I can give them credit. And this was written by Bernice Ross, President and CEO of the brokerage up and realestatecoach.com, a national speaker, author, and trainer of and over 1,000 published articles. So I want to go ahead and give credit where credit is due to Bernice. Thank you for doing the legwork on the research for this information. So in the article, Bernice writes, according to the most recent data from Zillow, a home that costs $300,000 in January of 2021 is now valued at $353,100 today. By the end of 2022, Zillow is predicting it will go up in value an additional 11.7%, placing its value at $394,413. So, again, if the house that was valued at the beginning of this year of $300,000 is now up $53,100, and by the end of 2022, it will be up nearly $100,000, up an additional $94,413. So putting it a little differently, if Zillow's prediction that property values will increase by 11.7% in 2022 is correct, the cost of waiting to purchase that median priced property will be $3,478 per month. So waiting to buy because prices are going up will cost you on average, based on the median home price in the middle of the country, and we're not talking about California prices here that tend to go up a little bit faster, could cost you $3,500 a month, and that's real money. So again, if you're thinking that you want to wait for the market to slow down and flatten, just the fact that prices are increasing over time will cost you money in the long run. Now, how much more will you pay in interest for the loan as well as prices go up? Because it's going to cost you more money to borrow more money because you're going to be paying for more, which means you're going to have a bigger loan, which means you're going to be paying interest on more money borrowed. And how much more money will you need to qualify should interest rates go up as well, as opposed to purchasing right now? So the other thing that you need to take into consideration is that interest rates could go up. So right now we're at historically low interest rates, and from what I understand in the marketplace, based on a transaction I'm working on right now, a buyer for one of the properties that the brokerage had listed, Good Patriot Realty, a salute to home ownership, their interest rate ticked up in the middle of the transaction, so it's costing them a little bit more money to buy the house than what they anticipated. So even in today's real estate market, the effect of interest rates has an effect on your buying power and how much you need to borrow and what your payments are going to be should these interest rates continue to rise. So most agents or brokers out there aren't discussing the impact of interest rates on purchasing power today. So we're going to change that trend right now. So the trend is reversing. Okay, so according to this article, the quarterly forecast, according to Freddie Mac, economists project that the 30-year fixed rate loans will rise from a low of 2.67% to an average of 3.7% by the end of 2022. So what does that mean for you and your purchasing power? That means that if you are going to, say, purchase a home, excuse me, that costs $356,700 at a 2.7% loan amount, and say you were getting an 80% loan, your extra interest over a period of 10 years would be $26,896. But if that jumps up on the same purchase of 3.7%, your interest payment is going to be, your extra interest payment is going to be $55,595. So it definitely is going to cost you more money if you decide to wait and interest rates go up, as well as pricing. So it's compounding. You're paying more money, you're having to borrow more money in order to get the loan to buy the house that you want, and then you're going to pay a higher interest rates, which means you're going to be paying more money over time for that same house if you don't wait and buy it today. All right. So, but the real problem out there is qualifying for a loan. So you may be able to qualify right now, based on an interest rate of say 2.7, 2.8, 2.9% for say $500,000 loan. But if the interest rate goes up and your payments are going to be higher, you may be only able to borrow say 400,000, which means you will then be able only to buy less house, which means you're going to buy a smaller property and probably not in the neighborhood that you're looking to really purchase in. So it's really important to factor in these economic events that are expected to happen in the future. Pricing going up, interest rates going up. So what's the number 2 reason to transact now? And that is going to be rising interest rates. And I know we've already been talking about that, but here's an example. So currently, the best 30-year fixed mortgage rate available for your purchase is approximately around 2.6 to 2.65%. Interest rates for 2022 are predicted to increase to about 1% more, to about 3.7, which we've already discussed. Now, assuming that you stay in your home for 10 years before selling, purchasing with an interest rate of 3.7% means you will pay an additional $30,360. Also, qualifying for a 3.7% loan also means you will have to show an extra $7,525 in annual income. All right, so this is where this affects your qualifying. Right now, if your income is not at that level, you could still qualify for a medium-priced home in the center of the country. And I don't know what it could be here out in California, because medium-priced homes are somewhere probably around $700,000, $750,000 in the state as a whole. But with that interest rate going up, right now your income to qualify is a lot lower than what it will be when those interest rates go up in 2022. So there's another reason why you need to buy now. If you qualify now with the income you have now, with the interest rate you have now, with the pricing you have now, it's not going to get any better if you wait. And you may not be able to catch up in your earned income to the levels that you're going to need in order to still qualify for the loan that you qualify for today. Because as we know, bosses don't go around handing out raises, especially when we have supply chain issues in the marketplace. They're already talking about not being able to have enough inventory for the holiday season, and a lot of retailers, as that's where they make their annual income. A lot of the percentage of their annual income comes around the holiday season, and if they're saying that they're not going to have the goods to sell, that means they're not going to have the income, which means if you're in that industry or the industries that support that, you're not going to be getting big raises in 2022 because they're going to be cutting back because they didn't get the revenue that they needed during the holiday season. So it's important to play with what you know today versus trying to predict what may be tomorrow. And the way it's shaping up, it doesn't look good in the future as far as pricing, interest rates, and the amount of money that you need to have in order to qualify. All right, so what's the third economic factor that we need to consider in regards to whether or not you buy now or wait and see what's going to happen? And that's inflation. All right, so as you know, if you've been hearing in the news, the inflation rate has been going up. It is not decreasing, it's going up. The costs of goods and services are soaring everywhere. Now, according to the Washington Post, from this article I'm reading, meat, poultry, fish, and eggs are up 15.7%, and gasoline prices have increased 43.9% on average, from 2.274 per gallon in September of 2020 to 3.27 per gallon in September of 2021. Now, if you live in California, you can add $1 to that, as we're seeing prices in the Bay Area getting near $5 a gallon for gas. And this is a hidden tax on everyone called inflation. All right, so the overall inflation rate has increased from 1.2% in October of 2020 to 5.3% today, as indicated in the article. Now, assume that you can afford a median priced home of $356,700 today based on the current 5.3% inflation rate. In October of 2022, the buyer could you could only buy, or a buyer could only buy, or only could afford to purchase a home that costs $337,795. Now, because of inflation, the amount of house that you can afford, because the dollars are losing value, is going to go down. All right? This means that, in other words, that 5.3% inflation rate shrinks your purchasing power on a property by $1,545 a month, right? That's a lot of money. $1,500 a month, your purchasing power is dropping month after month after month after month after month. So if you're at all on the fence thinking about purchasing a home and you're thinking about waiting, you have three strong economic factors that are playing against you. One, the price of housing is going up. Two, interest rates are starting to go up. Three, inflation has soared astronomically over the last 6 to 8 months. And it's costing a lot more money for discretionary income. And when you're getting a loan, they're going to be asking you what your bills are. All right, they're going to ask what your credit card debt is. So if you're living off of credit to make ends meet when it comes to buying food or gas or any other types of household income, and your credit card debt is increasing because of inflation, that's going to reduce your buying power as well. So it's better now to lock in a house while it's still less expensive, while the interest rates are still low, and while this inflation has not run us all off the road. Because the thing with buying is you're locking in your rent or your home cost, your monthly home cost, you're locking it in for the next 30 years. So even as inflation goes up, interest rates rise and fall, you will know what your monthly payment is to stay in a house for the next 30 years. Now, economies come and go, right? They get good, they get bad, they get good, they get bad. But at least you'll be protected from the wave of that up and down flow once you lock in your mortgage and what your property payments are going to be. Over time, this means you're going to be paying it down. You may be able to increase your income, and there will be economies when you're making a lot more money and it'll be easier. Maybe you can refinance, pay down your debts, and you can take advantage of that. But in economies when they're not so bad, you're not worrying about the rent going up, losing a job, and all of that good stuff. So it's just kind of better to lock it in right now and deal with what you know versus what you don't know in the future. Now, there is also a message for sellers out there in the marketplace. As these factors start to impact the buying population, as interest rates go up, inflation continues to rise, and the pricing of homes tends to still increase, what's going to happen, it's going to reduce the number of buyers in the marketplace. And when that happens, you'll see your increase in value for your home being sold start to level out. I'm not saying that there's going to be a decrease or a market crash. What I'm saying is you won't see multiple offers with 100,000, 50,000 over asking, especially in the center of the country where there isn't that much drive. Maybe locally where we still have high tech stock values and people are still making on average $150,000 to $200,000 a year. You're still going to have strong offers from people who qualify. However, everybody in the marketplace, whether they're making $1 million a year or $100,000 a year, are going to read the tea leaves and start to see the market slow down, and they're not going to overbid for houses, which means the housing market will shift. You'll still probably get a good price for your home, but in negotiating that contract, you're probably going to be asked to do repairs. They may ask for credits for closing costs. They may try to knock you down for termite, tenting costs, and things of that nature. So be prepared for the market to shift a little more on an even playing field, where the buyers will still give you a fair price for your home, but want the home to be fixed prior to close of escrow. So that's it. If you're on the fence and you're thinking about buying and you're a buyer, do not delay. It will definitely cost you money. And interest, paying interest over time as interest rates go up, and pricing as pricing goes up, it may cost you $3,500 a month as pricing goes up. And also for inflation, as inflation rises and it costs more for your basic needs, that means you'll be able to buy less house over time, which means smaller properties and maybe not in the neighborhood or the school district that you're looking for. So I'm going to leave you with this. As always, do not lean on your own understanding, but when you're getting out there in the real estate market, lean on the power of God and His wisdom, His knowledge, and His strength. And as it says in Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. When you're walking in the light with the giver of light, He will empower you. So remember that as the big takeaway. Even if you feel like this is a big daunting task to buy, do not fear, because God's with you. All right, with that, thank you for joining me for another episode of The Real Estate Connection, brought to you by Good Patriot Realty, a salute to home ownership. If you have any specific questions about your specific fact pattern in buying a home, and you don't want to wait and want to take advantage of the economic climate as it is today, give Stephen Theard, your real estate broker, a call at 408-472-0817. Again, 408-472-0817. If you don't want to miss another episode of The Real Estate Connection, send me an email right now at info@realestateConnectionRadio.com with your name and your email address, and I'd be happy to add you to the podcast distribution list. You can also find The Real Estate Connection on Podbean and Apple Podcasts. So with that, thank you again for joining me, and I'm going to put up the ending music, and we will see you next week. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless the United States of America. See you next week.
This has been The Real Estate Connection with Realtor and Certified Probate and Real Estate Specialist Stephen Theard. Licensed Cal BRE number 0170019. For more information on this program, visit RealestateConnectionRadio.com. To contact Stephen directly, call 408-472-0817 or email info@RealestateConnectionRadio.com. And be sure to tune in next week at this time for The Real Estate Connection.